nerds! Calling all nerds! 1, 2, 3! This year, I did a science experiment testing whether number memory has a correlation with visual memory. Now, don't get all cranked up with the funky name just yet. There's plenty of time for being confused later. So, basically what this is saying is, if you can memorize numbers very good, does it also mean you can memorize images very good? So, I have 2 memory tests coded in JavaScript by my dad. And just like last video, thank you, Dad. He has big brain. So, if you want to know how the memory tests work, or if you even want to try them out, you can go to my other video about Memory Test 2020 walkthrough. Here's a little nerdy research I did on my project. My memory tests are both testing working memory. Working memory is memory that is meant to be used in a very short time, usually under 1 minute. Here is an image of how working memory works. Wow, working memory works! The names might be a little complicated and cocky, but they are just representing parts of the brain. At the start, we have the central executive. He's a big boss. The central executive sends information to 3 categories: the phonological loop, the episodic buffer, and the visuospatial sketchpad. Man, it took me a long time to write that correctly. In my experiment, the phonological loop is the number memory processor, and the visuospatial sketchpad is the visual memory processor. By processor, I mean the part of the brain that turns electrical signals from your eye into images or words. That's really brainy. The visuospatial sketchpad is used for navigation by sight. The phonological loop is used with written or spoken material. Because the visuospatial sketchpad and the phonological loop receive information from the same place, the central executive, they should have some correlation. This is the graph that displays my results, and it looks really chaotic, and it might make you carsick. But first, let me explain it. On the x-axis, we have the number memory score, the higher the better. And on the y-axis, we have the visual memory score, also the higher the better. There are many dots representing people we tested, and they all have different colors and sizes. This is because when we just put the same color and the same size, the dots overlapped. Because some people had the same score as others, and it looked like one dot representing one person. This screwed up my data, like coronavirus screwed up our vacation plans. Well, I call coronavirus Coronkis Vice Quiz, but you can ignore my train of thought. Using this type of chart, the size and colors of the circles represent how many people got the exact same score in this chart. 8 and 8 were the most popular scores. By the way, my dad scored lower than that.
Come on, you're just as bad.
What? No, I'm always good. I'm so nerdy that... Never mind, whatever. Anyways, as you can see, the 8 and 8 circle has the darkest color and the largest circle size. I learned that visual memory and number memory have a weak correlation. I used Google Sheets to calculate the correlation coefficient. A correlation coefficient is a number that shows the correlation between 2 things. It ranges from 1 to -1. A negative number shows a negative correlation, and a positive number shows a positive correlation. The closer the number is to -1 or 1, the greater the correlation. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you guys love to hear me ramble on about useless info. Anyways, I calculated a correlation coefficient of 0.286, which rounds to 3. And because the correlation coefficient is out of 1, a 0.3 correlation out of 1 isn't that much to worry about. So, visual memory and number memory have some correlation because they receive information from the same area, but they are probably processed differently in the brain. This is why they don't have too strong of a correlation. I also tested the effect of gender on visual memory and didn't find anything to worry about. However, I found something for age. Bum, bum, bum! This next graph might look a little funky and complicated and a lot like me, but let me explain it to you. First, the blue line. Oh wait, blue is my favorite color. But I also like red, green, and Newman ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Ignore the flex. Well, the blue line represents people's visual memory over age, and as you can see, visual memory changes as people's age increases. The red line in the background represents people's number memory, and as you can see, number memory also changes as a person gets older. At the bottom, there are bar graphs. These represent how many people of a certain age took my test. A lot of people 40 to 54 took my test. Exactly 105. Wow, I never knew I was that popular among adults. Now, let me explain to you what I learned. So, I already explained to you that people's number and visual memory change over time. Visual memory has a steep incline, which means it develops quickly in kids and preteen years. Visual memory peaks in teenage years, around 13 to 19. This means that teens have the best visual memory scores. Then, visual memory slowly gets worse as you get older. Number memory doesn't have as a steep incline as visual memory, but peaks at young adult age, around 20 to 30. Then, it also gets worse as you get older, but at a slower rate than visual memory. Gee, visual and number memory both have really big mood swings. That's one thing in common. I guess that was the result for this 2020 experiment. I really have to thank everybody who made this video possible. I thank my dad for helping code the memory tests and loading the cameras. I thank my mom for sending the memory test links to everybody. And I thank everybody who took my memory tests. My goal was to test 100 people, but in just the first few weeks, I already had 200 answers. So, thanks to everybody who helped. So, if you like this video, smash that like button. You can check out my other videos. If you enjoy my channel, I really appreciate it if you subscribed. And stick around for more videos of Nathan the Mega Nerd. Goodbye, or as nerds say it, e to the I times pi plus 1 equals 0. E to the I times pi...
Not again, please. Nobody cares.
But, okay, fine. Respect the nerd!